Let's just dive right in, shall we? Did you know that simply avoiding 2 or 3 incredibly common mistakes can instantly maximize your IELTS writing exam marks? Seriously. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are taking the guesswork entirely out of the IELTS writing test. We're going to bypass all the unnecessary theory and focus strictly on practical exam strategies, essentially, exactly what the examiner is looking for and exactly how you can deliver it. Avoid the traps we're about to cover, and you could effectively save your score from dropping by whole band levels.
First up, we have what we call the common mistake graveyard. These are 3 specific errors that guarantee lost marks before the examiner even glances at your grammar. Students bleed points by 1. Writing under the minimum word limit, 2. Copying text directly from the prompt, and 3. Using bullet points or notes instead of fully formed paragraphs. These are absolute rule breakers. If you do these, you lose marks, period. But don't worry, we're going to fix this right now.
Look, by simply knowing these pitfalls exist, you are already way ahead of the curve. Master the simple, step-by-step method I'm about to show you, and avoiding these mistakes will just become automatic. This will directly result in a higher score because you literally won't be giving away easy marks to silly technicalities. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Mistakes costing you marks. 2. What the examiner wants. 3. Step-by-step answering method. 4. Building your perfect answer. And 5. Your ultimate exam checklist. Let's get started.
Section 1. Mistakes costing you marks. The absolutely crucial numbers you need to remember here are 150 and 250. Notice the word minimum. Task 1 requires a minimum of 150 words, while Task 2 requires a minimum of 250 words. I want to pause here just to let the gravity of that sink in for a second. If you write 149 words for Task 1, you will be penalized. The examiner physically counts. You absolutely must hit these minimum targets to protect your score.
And that brilliantly illustrates our next major trap. Listen to this direct quote from the examiner guidelines. It says, "The examiner will not include words copied from the question in the word count." Basically, this means if you panic and just rewrite the prompt word for word to boost your length, those words literally do not count. The command term here is own words. You have to paraphrase, because if you copy, your word count shrinks, and you trigger that exact penalty we just talked about.
Moving right along to Section 2, what the examiner wants.
Take a really close look at how the exam is actually weighted. Task 1 is shorter, usually asking you to request information or explain a situation. Task 2 is a longer essay asking you to respond to an argument or a problem. But here is the golden rule you have to remember. Task 2 contributes twice as much to your final writing score as Task 1, 2 times. This means if you are going to prioritize your energy and your time management, Task 2 is where the heavy lifting happens. Now, I absolutely love this point because it immediately lowers test anxiety. There are no right or wrong opinions in the IELTS writing test. Seriously, the examiner doesn't care about your political views, your personal philosophies, or even if they agree with you personally. They are strictly assessing how well you use your English to report information and express ideas. Focus on your language, not on being a philosopher. And speaking of language, so many students think they need to write massive, incredibly complex sentences just to sound academic. Well, the official guidelines actually warn against this. Very long sentences often lose coherence, and they make your grammar much harder to control. Keep your sentences clear, concise, and accurate. Remember, sentence control earns marks while rambling loses them.
All right, Section 3, step-by-step answering method.
The magic number for Task 2 is 40. You have 60 minutes in total for the exam, and because Task 2 is worth double the points, you must dedicate a strict 40 minutes to it. Good time management is the absolute foundation of this repeatable method. Honestly, if you mess up the timing, the best English in the world won't save your score. So here is your 40-minute workflow. Step 1, spend 5 minutes planning. Do not just start writing. Plan your structure first. Step 2, write your answer for 30 minutes. And remember our earlier rule, you must write in full paragraphs. No notes, no bullet points. And then, Step 3, leave 5 minutes at the very end to review and check for mistakes. Plan, write, review. It's a remarkably simple, repeatable formula that actively secures your marks.
Section 4, building your perfect answer. Stay with me here, because we're about to break down the exact structure of a full-mark essay.
This is exactly what the examiner wants to see on the page. First, an introduction, written entirely in your own words. Second, a body where you present your ideas and back them up with real-life examples to illustrate your points. And third, and this is absolutely critical, a conclusion based on the information you just provided.
Think about it. If your prompt asks about banning cars in cities, your body needs a real-life example, like London's emission zones, and your conclusion must explicitly align with those facts. If you argue one thing in the body and then conclude the exact opposite, your coherence marks will completely tank.
Now, just a quick note, if you're taking the academic version, you really have to know when to be objective and when to argue. Academic Task 1 is purely factual. You are just selecting and comparing data from a graph or a table. Do not try to interpret it or give reasons. Just report the facts. Academic Task 2, however, demands your point of view. It needs your arguments and those real-life examples we just discussed. So be very clear on the difference between those two tasks.
Heed this big warning. Do not memorize pre-packaged model answers from the internet. Examiners are literally trained to spot them from a mile away. Why? Because a memorized answer will almost never perfectly match the specific, nuanced topic of your actual exam question. It'll feel forced, off topic, and you will lose heavy marks for not addressing the actual prompt. Authentic writing wins every single time.
Let's quickly touch on some easy grammar traps. Watch your S's. I know it sounds super basic, but the guidelines explicitly state that many candidates confuse singular and plural nouns. For instance, writing student when they really mean students, or issue instead of issues. Pay attention to this when you're in that review phase. Also, don't panic at all about regional spelling. Standard American, Australian, and British spellings are all perfectly acceptable. Just pick one and be consistent.
Finally, Section 5, your ultimate exam checklist.
When you finally hit that 5-minute review stage, you want to run through this rapid-fire checklist. Did you address all the points in the question? Did you meet the minimum word counts of 150 and 250? Did you use your own words in the introduction? And are your ideas clearly organized into full paragraphs, definitely not bullet points? If you can confidently check all 4 of those boxes, you have effectively protected your baseline score from all those common graveyard mistakes.
So, the big question is, will your next essay pass the test? Don't just absorb this information today, act on it. My challenge to you is to apply this exact 535 method to a practice prompt right now. Write in full paragraphs, check your word counts, and review those essays. I guarantee, once you see the method actually working, your confidence is going to skyrocket. Be sure to explore our other explainers to keep sharpening those exam skills. You've got the blueprint, now go build that perfect answer.